Hello, this is Group 32 coming from the Pennsylvania State University, and we're here today to talk about our senior capstone project for Chem 470. My name is Nana.
I'm Patra.
I'm Balkis.
And I'm Nazira.
And today we're going to be talking about our capstone project that is based on stem cell therapy for spinal cord injuries. Now I'm just going to be talking in detail about some of our equipment. The first three, which are very important, is our wave bioreactors. The first one is a 2-liter bioreactor, second one is a 10-liter bioreactor, and the third is a 25-liter bioreactor. Now these wave bioreactors keep the cells in suspension and have a rocking wave type motion that basically helps in keeping the cells in suspension. For the first two are just the cells and the media. For the third bioreactor, we're gonna add the third 25-liter bioreactor. We're going to add microcarriers to that bioreactor to provide a larger surface area for the larger expanded cells. So this is going to be obtained from GE Healthcare. This is something that they developed for biotechnology, and it's a great equipment to use for this project. The second equipment I'm going to be talking about is our large NSC bioreactor, which is basically our main equipment. As I previously stated, it is a 400-liter bioreactor using perfusion-styled systems. We're going to be using microcarriers, and it has magnetic agitation. First, I will go ahead and say magnetic agitation, because we're using magnetic agitation because the cells are very fragile and in nature, and using a typical traditional mechanical agitator will break up the cells and disrupt the process. And so we're going to be using magnetic agitation to keep the cells and microcarriers in suspension and to keep everything mixed properly. The type of microcarriers we're going to be using is the Helix 2 type microcarriers, and they have a large surface area. They are positively charged, and because cells are negatively charged, we're going to be using utilizing the loss of attraction to help the cells adhere better to the microcarriers. The Helix 2 microcarriers are also not very porous, because using a very porous microcarrier makes separation difficult. Separation of the cell from the microcarrier is very difficult. And so in this bioreactor, basically everything has been specified. So one additional thing about this NSC reactor is that we're going to be using trypsin as a dissociation agent. So basically injecting trypsin into the system will help the cells to detach from the microcarriers and move on to the next process. This will be done in the separator, with the Harvestainer separator, which is basically the next step in the process. Balkis is going to come and take over and talk about the rest of the equipment descriptions.
The next is Harvestainer separator. Harvestainer separator will be used to separate the cells from microcarriers. Harvestainer separator is a single-use separator that contain 2 bags. It is a bag within a bag. The inner bag will trap all the microcarriers, and the second bag will collect all the media and the cells that is separated from the microcarriers. The cell will be pumped through the transfer port at the top of the separator and filter out at the bottom of the separator to be transferred to other bioreactors. This separator will have 0.7 separation efficiency. To help with the detachment of the cells from the microcarriers, trypsin is also added to the separator. Next, I will talk about the cryopreservation and vial filling. The cryopreservation is a process to help for the transportation and storage processes later. In this process, we will freeze the cells down until negative 130 degrees Celsius. To prevent the ice crystallization in the cells, the water content in the cells is substituted with DMSO and glycerol. After cryopreservation, the cell will be filled into the vial for easier transportation and storage. An aseptic vial filling will be used in this step. 5 ml of cryogenic vial tube will be filled up until 3 ml. In this vial, the cell will have a density of 1 million cells per milliliters. In doing all this, it must be in an airlock condition. The operating room will have a high clean room standard, and everything should be airlocked, and no access to outside should be open before the process is terminated. In designing the equipment design, we also consider the batch sizing and the production line. To calculate those numbers, we have considered the condition that is listed in the problem statement. Here is the three main conditions. The first condition is the target number of neural cells at the end of the bioreactors, which is 9 billion cells. There is also a number of doses per batch, which is 30 doses per batch. And in one dose, it should be 300 million cells per dose. Using all these conditions, we calculated the number of batch, which turns out to be 400 batch per year, to achieve 12,000 doses per year. After calculating, in order to achieve this target, we need 7 lines of production. We also have a project timeline. Project timeline is when we estimate the number of time that the cells will spend time in each processes. The timeline is for making a batch of neural cells. It started with 4 hours in vial thawing, 84 hours in flask incubation, 100 hours in the first wave bioreactors, 100 hours in the second wave bioreactors, 41 hours in the third wave bioreactors, 10 hours in the separator, 151 hours in the large differentiation and expansion bioreactors, another 10 hours in the separation, and lastly 6 hours in vial preparation and filling. In between each of these processes, we also consider the time for cleaning the equipment and the time for transferring the cells from one equipment to another. After calculating all those time, we have came out the total time for one batch turns out to be 26 days and 21 hours. This is the process suite layout for the plant that we have designed. Each of the